the new kids on the block, if you will, the 32nd NFL team, the team that finally, after 3 years, we finally got eight even number of teams, and one team didn't have to be on bye every freaking week. That was painful to write down and all that. What the hell? But anyway, the Houston Texans came about in 2002 as an expansion team to quench the thirst of Houston fans who wanted a football team in their fine city after the Houston Oilers left for Tennessee. Although it was kind of the fans' fault, if you will. They were being apathetic, if nothing else. The Houston Oilers were a fantastic team for many years, and unfortunately, the Houston Oilers never got to the Super Bowl. Once they turned into the Tennessee Titans, they got to the Super Bowl in 2000, somehow getting in, mostly because of the stupid Music City Miracle and the fact that they took down the Jacksonville Jaguars, the one seed that crushed Dan Marino into retirement. But regardless of what happened, the Houston Texans were there. They wanted a team. But anyway, Houston's lack of playoff victories was why the fans didn't really want the team staying in Houston at the Astrodome. And of course, you want a football stadium that's not the Astrodome. But unfortunately, that never came about. Well, the Astrodome closed in 1999 to make way for Minute Maid Park. But regardless, this is not a baseball thing. So the football team came out and shockingly beat the Dallas Cowboys in their first ever game, 19-10. Unfortunately, Houston made the bad mistake of giving David Carr a chance. Three quarterback. He was decent in college, but as a quarterback in the NFL, he just got crushed, and crushed again. A lot of sacks on the guy. David Carr did win a Super Bowl, but with the New York Giants in 2008. So anyway, the Houston Texans have not really had much playoff experience to talk about. But in 2012-13, they actually won the division, the AFC South, mostly because Peyton Manning couldn't help the Colts because of his neck being crushed. Anyway, the Colts loss was the Titans game. Was the Titans not game? Wrong, no, it was the Texans game. Texans ended up winning the game against the Cincinnati Bengals in the wild card game, and the fans went nuts. Houston, a couple years ago, had a chance to win a big playoff game on home turf against the Oakland Raiders. They beat the Oakland Raiders, who actually ended up 12-4 in the wild card spot. But the problem with the Raiders was that the Broncos were good, A, and B was that they didn't have Derek Carr, their star quarterback, David Carr's brother, ironically enough. So anyway, the Texans easily won that game. But the Chiefs came out of freaking nowhere to beat the Texans a couple years ago in Houston. And nobody can forget. I guess I was going to say the Sean McDonough voice-cracking voice. What a way to be alive! But anyway, the Texans in 2013 actually shocked everyone by beating the Cincy Bengals, thus giving the Bengals yet another playoff loss. However, the Houston Texans would go into New England and get their butts handed to them 41-28. Well, of course, it's Tom Brady. What do you fucking expect? So then those Patriots ended up losing to the Baltimore Ravens, who then won the Super Bowl. Now, here's the thing, though. In this scenario, the Houston Texans get to the AFC title game against the Baltimore Ravens. They were the 3 seed, and the Ravens were a 4 seed. Thankfully, though, that means Houston can actually host Baltimore in that. Basically, you replace New England with Houston. Houston would host the AFC title game. The NFC title game saw San Francisco beat Atlanta. That we know. And we know that the Niners would go to the Super Bowl. On our way to the Super Bowl. It's time. Ironically enough, the AFC title game was held on January 20th. That was the day after the NHL season finally kicked off after strike problems. But enough about hockey. That's for future lists. So anyway, the Ravens take on the Texans. If the Texans win, they take on the San Francisco 49ers. Easy enough. If the Ravens win, then the Ravens will win the Super Bowl. Just make it a little easy for everyone. All right, so the 10-6 Ravens, coming off their double overtime win over the Broncos in Denver, take on the 12-4 Houston Texans in Houston. And lo and behold, the Houston Texans beat the Baltimore Ravens 23-13. Wow, that's a big relief for Houston fans. Shane Graham kicks a field goal. Justin Tucker kicks a field goal to make it 3-3. Houston gets another field goal, and then Schaub to Kevin Walter, 13-3. Houston then makes it 20-3 on a Ben Tate run for a touchdown. Jacoby Jones got a touchdown pass from Flacco. And then Shane Graham and Justin Tucker traded field goals, but the Ravens lost. Matt Schaub, the hero. Arian Foster, 87 yards on the ground. Ray Rice, only 46. Haha. Great receiving core of Andre Johnson and Kevin Walter, 171 yards combined. Torrey Smith, not much there. Flacco, 13 for 27, 191 with a touchdown and a pick. Matt Schaub, 14 for 23, 252 and a touchdown. The only pick was by Barrett Rudd. Tucker and Graham, 5 field goals combined. So, now we got ourselves a big game. Houston technically was the home team, I think, against the Niners in the playoffs. So let's just get the San Francisco 49ers 2012 team on here. We have Kaepernick, Frank Gore, LaMichael James, Michael Crabtree, Randy Moss. Forgot about that guy. Vernon Davis. So I believe it was at the Superdome. Obviously, it would have been at the Superdome because of that hoodoo voodoo. See there, and you see the result quickly, but we'll talk about the Super Bowl. Super Bowl will give you some Super Bowl stuff. Whoops, sorry about that. All right, so let's just see what we got. Shane Graham kicked the field goal to make it 3-0. Akers comes back with a field goal 3-3. Put ourselves nothing there. A touchdown in the third quarter for the Giants. So as you can see right here, David Akers at 10-6, David Akers kicks a field goal to make it 13-6. Houston on the drive did all right. 1st and 10 at the 16. Arian Foster goes for a touchdown. There's a flag, but like it's a face mask, but declined because the touchdown was there. 13-13. Then San Francisco goes on a drive with 8 minutes plus left. A couple of third downs. They missed the third down, and then Akers has to go for a 28-yard field goal to make it 16-13, which he does. And then Houston on 4th and 10, 2:48, it was over. However, Kevin Walter gets a 27-yard reception. At the 2-minute warning, after that, Schaub gets picked off. San Francisco basically tries to run the ball up. Houston calls their timeouts to force San Francisco to punt with 1:41 left, and then they have a chance. They're in San Francisco territory at the 43. Schaub had a screen pass to Foster, but didn't work. Schaub's pass batted down, and then on 3rd and 11, picked off by the Niners. Kaepernick takes the knee. The Niners win the Super Bowl. That's good for some people, but not for Houston fans. And yet again, we have another losing scenario. So the Houston Texans lose. So yet again, the what if did not work. Graham and Akers. Crabtree was the guy. It's surprised they actually let him run for a touchdown. The final score 16-13. Crabtree the hero. Crabtree had 1 run for 39 yards and almost was number 1 in rushing yards. But Michael James, 8 for 51 was. Arian Foster, 70 yards. Yeah. Alex Smith came in. I don't know why. 2 for 4, 14 yards. Kaepernick, 7 for 18, 78 yards. Kevin Walter, almost 100 yards receiving. Schaub, 3 picks, 2 to Tremaine Brock, 1 to Ray McDonald. Both kickers did not miss a field goal. Great job for them in the Super Bowl. But the Super Bowl blues for Houston remain, and the Texans don't have a happy ending.